Welcome back to the channel, and for this one I want to discuss the big news circulating through a lot of sports shows and sports talks of the new height adjustment to Bryce Young. Before the official height adjustment, he was listed at 6 foot, but now he's officially listed as 5'10" and a half, scaring a lot of people. A lot of experts, a lot of people around the sports media are concerned with this height. Big discussion about whether he's going to pan out because of that. As right now, and also weight-wise too, he's listed at 195. So 5'10" and a half, 195. A very small frame, one of the smallest quarterbacks to ever come into the NFL eventually. And again, there's a lot of concern, and just switching over to here, especially a big thing too, as you saw on Dav Clement on his Twitter of quoting Todd McShay. So that if I'm a GM, I'm scared to death on drafting him. And then we switch over to this, a quick article of same thing too. So again, it's a big discussion, especially in the last few days when you had quarterbacks like Anthony Richardson and Will Levis rising up in the draft board, mainly just because of their physical attributes, their size, their arm strength, as opposed to their play. And you're getting the vice versa for Bryce Young, very talented, no doubt the number one quarterback of all three of them. But again, the big problem is the size comparison, and I'm gonna quickly jump over again to kind of a small list I put together of the top 4 quarterbacks. You have Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, and quickly comparing their size. If you take away Bryce Young, look at all the other three quarterbacks. They're around the same size. 6'3", 218 for C.J. Stroud. Will Levis 6'3", 231. Richardson 6'4", 231. And then when you show Bryce Young's size, 5'10", 195. It is a glaring difference in between that, especially when people go after the college season was projecting Bryce Young to be the unspoken first overall pick. People thought for the Bears with the first overall pick, this would be the Bryce Young sweepstakes of who wants to jump up and grab him. But as time has gone on, teams are starting to get a little bit more worried, and especially with the news that came out, I should say yesterday, not today, but yesterday with the official height readjustment. People are having a discussion: is he going to pan out in the NFL? Is he not? You have people saying that, of course, with Todd McShay, they are worried about him, and others say, no, he's going to be great. Even go as far as to say he's going to be a superstar. He's going to be an elite quarterback. For myself, it's tough. In my opinion, it's tough to figure it out. It really is to figure out if he is going to pan out, because at the bottom here, I have quarterbacks that are smaller, similar size to him that we have concerns with. So, of course, the big comparison is Kyler Murray, 5'10", 207. I don't know what his weight was before the combine, or after the college season, but I believe it was around this 207 mark as he is now. Got in 2019, no doubt the number one quarterback, and most people had him as the number one prospect in the draft. But people had questions of his size, being 5'10". Is he going to take the hits? Is he going to last in the NFL? And in the last 2 seasons, he has missed a good amount of games, 9 games out of the last 2. And it's almost mirrored each other from the 2022 and 2021 campaign, where down the stretch in the second half of the season, he starts to wear down. He starts missing games. He starts getting injuries. And for the tough part too for the Arizona Cardinals is they just extended him this past offseason. So if there was a chance where they wanted to move off from him because of these concerns, it's going to be very challenging to move a quarterback this size with the injury history he has the last couple of seasons. And again, more important too is just moving off of the big money that they owe him. The exception to this is one or two, as I can think of offhand, is Drew Brees and Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, of course, being the most recent quarterback with the size, being 5'11", 206. I project Bryce Young to be in the 200s when he gets to the NFL. I don't doubt that he's going to be concerned that he'll be under 200. He'll be around, I believe, the Kyler Murray size, 207, 210, around there. For Russell, same thing too for Russell Wilson. around that range. Aside from Russ's final season in Seattle, where he had the hand injury, he's been relatively healthy. He has been one of the he's been one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. Of course, his first season in Denver has not panned out. It's been the opposite. You could argue he was one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL this past season, but overall he has panned out. He is a great quarterback, but he is the exception. Jalen Hurts is starting to trend upward into that same conversation. 6'1". Again, a big difference from 6'1" to 5'10", but he's still considered a smaller quarterback. But weight-wise, is great, 223. And again, aside from the last 2 games when he had a shoulder injury, he's overall in his 3 seasons, he's been healthy, and you've seen he has succeeded. So again, he's trending upward to being a exception along with Wilson and Breeze. A big one too this past season. Tua even goes as far back to his college season when he had the career-threatening hip injury, and then it's been countless again and again. So many injuries piling up for Tua since he stepped in the NFL, especially this past season with the 3 concussions. People halfway through the year was already saying that he should step away from the NFL because of the concerns. As you can see, for his size, 6'1", 216, he has missed a total of his career 9+ games in his career. Now, that may not seem a lot, but as of recently, especially this past season and then the year before, he has missed time. When he takes big hits, it weighs on him. It's starting to pile up, and there's questions even if he's going to be fully committed to be the starter. I know he came out and said that he talked to doctors and he's all set to come back next season. The Dolphins have announced that he will be the starter, but I question that because they still haven't picked up his 5th-year option because they are worried, and if they're not going to do that, they're going to be worried about giving an extension, and I believe that next year could be his final year in Miami, and potentially maybe in the NFL, depending on how things go if he gets injured again, or what type of injuries it is, more specifically concussions. And finally, Baker, 6'1", 209, but I do see at times people say 6 foot. Has been banged up. Now, he hasn't missed a ton of games, but his last year in Cleveland, he had the shoulder injury throughout the whole season that kind of wrecked the season for himself and Cleveland. Though I'm not going to blame all his problems and all his turnovers and such on that. Also, decision making is a big part of it too, but again, he also gets banged up throughout his career as well. So the big concern, no doubt, is Bryce Young. Is he going to last in the NFL at that size? If you are going to draft him, if it's going to be Chicago, and there's reports now they're going to trade the pick, or whoever trades up to get him, or maybe if he falls to number 2 to Houston, you are going to have to invest a ton in offensive line. And even then, you're not guaranteed that he will stay healthy. Now, good sign too is that he has not suffered injuries in college, which is a good sign. Doesn't mean that he's going to stay the same in the NFL, but it's a good sign as opposed to Tua when he had the injury concerns in college already. But regardless of whoever he goes to, you're going to have to build the offensive line and just hope that he can stay healthy, put some more weight on, and he can be that franchise guy. Do I see an elite in him? I don't know. I mean, there's no doubt in his short time in starting for Alabama, he was phenomenal. There was not one bad game he had. He carried the team at times. He is a Heisman winner and so forth. So he has proven that he is, without a doubt, the number 1 quarterback in this draft class. The only thing that's holding him back, and I think that'll probably cost him, is just his size. And also, a smaller part too is that he is declining to throw at the combine, which I do not like. I think he should throw. After the college season, you only have a couple opportunities to prove yourself until the draft. I mean, the 2 big ones, of course, is the combine and pro day. He will throw it as pro day, but I don't really put too much stock into that because every quarterback looks great in that. They all pick plays that they know that they're not going to look bad in, and it's just kind of just a pad in their stock. The bigger thing that's more important is the combine, and I know even then people don't really take that seriously, but if you sit out, with him sitting out, you're going to give Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, and Will Levis the opportunity to throw and maybe wow these guys to the point where it's going to convince some of the teams to trade up to number 1 and take one of those three. It's besides Bryce Young. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that if Bryce Young does throw, he is guaranteed, because again, the height is a big factor. But if he does throw and he does wow coaches, it's going to make it even a tougher decision on teams to pass on him. But with him just declining to throw at the combine, and one of these other people, especially with Richardson, like I said, in the last few days, you've heard his name pop up more and more, potentially being the first overall pick. It's going to give these guys a better opportunity to raise their stock. So I think overall, I think that's the combine part of it too. I think he's hurting himself in that. Height-wise, there's nothing he can do with it. That's his size. You can't change it too much. But overall, I think he will be a good quarterback in the NFL. But again, the biggest thing I keep emphasizing is no matter where he goes, you have to build the offensive line. You can't just be like these other teams in the years past where they draft a quarterback and then they expect him to do everything and carry the team. You can't do that, especially with his size. You have to build around him. So, again, that's my quick thoughts on the whole Bryce Young situation. Let me know your thoughts down below of if his size does concern you, if you do think he's going to pan out in the NFL, and also you think if he will be the first overall pick in this upcoming draft. So again, let me know your thoughts on that. But besides that, thank you for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you in the next one.